Sports College Football Weekend Roundup. It's great college football, like it usually is again. Unfortunately, though, for the men of Troy, it didn't turn out that way for them at all. It did not turn out that way for the men of Troy today. They went to Eugene, and they that first half they looked like they was in it to win it. But the special teams play, the punt return for the touchdown. Penalties started becoming an issue. You know, bad passes. Forcing passes down the middle of the field in double coverage. Eventually those will turn into interceptions, and eventually those will lead to points for the other team. And when you're playing a good team like Oregon, Oregon is a good team, that's going to happen. So, you know, Lincoln Riley, he broke out all the tricks. That pass from Makai Lemon to Nuke Hines, that was a good play right there, a good trick play, at the point in the game. Like I said, they was in it when it was all tied up, 14 up, and then that punt return, that just didn't. That just derailed everything for them. But they kept fighting back. But, being down 2 touchdowns at that point, they couldn't overcome that. The defense, I ain't going to say they played bad. I'll say they played pretty good. It's just, they had one drive where they didn't make no stops. So if that one drive, it leads into several other drives that don't lead stops, that's what's going to happen. So I don't think CFP is for USC this season, but it could be, something bright for the future. Kennedy Urlacher, he looks like he's a perfect fit at USC. He's got that ball play making ability like his dad, for sure. So, I think that's a good bright spot for the defense. I think that the defense is not that far off. I think the defense is they can add a few more playmakers, but I think next year the USC Trojans, they're gonna look pretty tough. Even if they lose like Makai Lemon, Lake McCree, uh, number 8, I forgot. Jacoby, yeah, Jacoby. I forgot, his last name just right now. But those players, if they even lose those, I think they still got enough talent on the offense. King Miller came out of nowhere this year. King Miller, was the walk on from Beverly Hills. Looks really good running the football. So they got something there. True freshman at that, walk on player. So the future is bright for USC, but I thought maybe this year they could have turned the corner and got something going. It just didn't happen this year. So, oh well. The surprise of the weekend to me was, man, Notre Dame. Lord, it was 28-0 in the first quarter. Then it was 42-0 in the second, going in the second. Jeremiah Love, man, that dude only had 8 carries for 171 yards. That dude is amazing to watch. If y'all have ever seen him play, if y'all haven't ever seen him play, I suggest you go look at them highlights. That dude is a big play waiting to happen every time he touches the ball. He has a different kind of running style too. He doesn't have I ain't gonna say he's like Reggie Bush, because Reggie Bush is very dynamic. But he has he has his own style, that's for sure. I haven't really ever seen his kind of style. He's very powerful. He's very fast. He has breakaway speed, but he knows how to turn it on at the right moment. He knows how to turn on the speed at the right moment. But when they had that game at 70-7 over Syracuse, Lord, they really wanted to put it on today. So that was an impressive performance. I didn't expect Syracuse to win that at all. But I'm expecting maybe like 24-10 or 24-7, something like that. But 70-7, that's embarrassing. And Syracuse is a Division 1. Syracuse, they have a legacy. They got Jim Brown, Donovan McNabb, Floyd Little, the legend of 44. They got all that stuff behind it. And That performance, that was a big no no for that program. But 77, that was my biggest surprise of the college football weekend because I didn't expect that kind of ass whooping at all. But that was an ass whooping for sure. Let's see, Oklahoma. Oklahoma keeps winning. Oklahoma has still LSU to play, I believe. So, and that ain't no slash game. Like, I don't care how LSU isn't even ranked or how bad they've been playing. LSU still is a dangerous team. They still got plenty of people on that other side of the ball on offense that could, cause problems for any team in the country. So let's just not write them off like that. But Oklahoma, if they keep winning, they'll definitely be a CFP team. They can't afford another loss because of the early losses in the season, but they playing the right amount of they're playing good football at the right time. So that's a big deal. So going into next week, it's going to be interesting to see, Thanksgiving weekend, if Ohio State can beat Michigan finally. If they can't beat Michigan, man, that's just like they'll get in the CFP again. But it's like, man, like they better be glad they had the CFP. That's all I'm gonna say last year because, like, if they didn't have the CFP, Ryan Day would have been fired last year for sure because he just couldn't ever beat Michigan. That's just my opinion. But that CFP that saved him tremendously. It really did. It saved him tremendously. But if they didn't have that, I mean, I could just imagine, like the constant headlines surrounding that. But if Michigan and they play him in Michigan this year, so it's the biggest right year. With sitting up there. Oh man, they done shut my background down. Oh well, but sitting up there pretty much last year. Like if you think about that Michigan game when they put the flag in the middle of the field, when they did that, like that right there, that ain't gonna go away, especially for players that play at Ohio State and they want to be known, like for the rivalry, not this new landscape of college football where you got people that's just about the money. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's probably always been about the money, but you notice the difference back in the day with rivalry games. You notice the difference for sure. But with that being said, like that's a must win for Ohio State, in my opinion. They're going to go to the CFP regardless, but you don't want to lose to them again, especially after spending all that money the year before and this year. You don't want to lose to them again. You really don't. But that's neither here nor there. So, but that's going to be a big game next week. I already have that as my game of the week. Actually, is Texas versus Texas A&M. The reason why I put that as the game of the week is because Texas is very capable of going in there and not only beating Texas A&M but putting ass whooping on Texas A&M. After I seen them play against South Carolina, I wasn't sold on Texas A&M as a top team. After I seen them play that particular game, that particular matchup. But I mean, it's going to be an interesting matchup still. But I think Texas can really get back on track. I don't know about no CFP, but they could get back on track. For next season, going into next year. Arch Manning, he didn't have a good go round in his first year as a starter, but next year, they still got a lot of talent coming in there to Texas and everything. Steve Sarkisian ain't going nowhere, so they could probably get back on the map like that, especially with a year under his belt. But Texas A&M, I'm not sold on that team at all. I'm really not. I'm really not sold on them at all. But Oregon, they look good. I don't know about long term, but for the playoff, but they're going to get in. They looked okay. Uh, Georgia, very dominating team still. They look good. Alabama, I mean, that was easy work today. Them easy games, I guess. I don't know why they're scheduling the easy matchups later in the year, but that's neither here nor there. Florida State football, terrible. Like, they shouldn't have lost that game last night against North Carolina State. Like, remember, Florida State used to be whooping ass in the ACC. Like, but nah, that ain't happening no more. The Miami Hurricanes, they won the day on the road in Virginia Tech. It's not saying a lot. It ain't like it's, Michael Vick, Virginia Tech, Brian Randall, Virginia Tech. It's not those teams, but it's still a rivalry game. They still got a lot of work to do. Do I think they could get in the CFP? I think they do. I think they could get in. Can they win the ACC championship this year? I think they can win that this year for sure. But it's going to be, them two losses, man, like to Louisville, and then also losing to who was the other team they lost? It was Louisville, and it's another team they had no business losing to. It was like like that Louisville game. First of all, four interceptions. Four interceptions. I still can't get over that. But that's in the past now. If you keep winning, you can have that in the rear view. You don't need to even worry about that. If you as long as you keep winning. But if you like go back to a game like that anytime in the next few games, then you can write off CFP implications for the Miami Hurricanes. But they have a really good chance of getting in and a very good chance of winning the ACC for the first time ever, which is crazy considering you remember when they moved there in 2004. Shoot, right now you would think they would have at least probably 10 titles, considering they were just coming off of the 2000 early 2000 era Miami teams, but they didn't keep that momentum going. A lot of stuff happened, scandals, all kind of stuff. But Miami, they have a very good chance of making the CFP, but they have to keep winning. They cannot afford no other losses. Mario Cristobal, I don't think his job's in jeopardy right now at all. Like, I think he still got a hold on that program. It's just he can't be losing these games later in the year like that. Like in November, December, that's when they start losing those games. They can't do that no more. Like, you just can't do that. Like, especially considering the teams he played for in the 90s. That never happened under, Dennis Erickson's watch. On those teams he played for, them Jimmy Johnson teams. So that's something that could be fixed. It's something on the coaching end, that could be fixed. But players too. Like you got to be able to be accountable and go in there and play and show how talented you are, show how like skilled you are. That's on you too. So yeah, Miami, I can see them still getting it, but they have to play exceptional down the stretch. So that is the college football weekend roundup. Next week we're gonna have it's gonna be more rivalries, you know, few next week. Uh okay, I'm gonna wait for a minute. They had a few games today. California versus Stanford. Stanford game had that rivalry game. Andrew Luck, he was still, you could tell he was still all the way in. Um, like, they had a few of them today of rivalry games, but, next week, that's when you start seeing the Iron Bowl and stuff like that. I don't see Auburn doing nothing this year with Alabama in that one. Uh, Obviously, USC playing UCLA, that's always a big game for me. But they can't lose. They better not lose that game to UCLA. I'll tell you that. But USC, they could close out the season. Very very good this year. Maybe get a good bowl game. Better than the Las Vegas Bowl last year. It just all depends. But Yeah, that was my just a little bit of my quick college football weekend roundup. It was some good football this weekend, so I'll be back next weekend doing the same thing, discussing those games. I think when it's all said and done. So that Texas A&M game, that's my game of the week already. So whoever wins that, that's going to determine Texas A&M CFP chances. In Texas, I don't see them getting in there at all because too many losses early. But things could change. 1 week, a lot of losses, upsets, it all can shuffle